In the field of artillery, 37mm caliber artillery has always been a perennial presence. After calibers were used as a measure of artillery performance in the 19th century, the 37mm gun has always existed, and was the smallest caliber of artillery before World War I. It was not because people unanimously believed that the 37mm gun was very suitable, but rather the result of the St. Petersburg Declaration. The St. Petersburg Declaration was negotiated and signed by Tsarist Russia, and its direct cause was related to the new type of ammunition being developed by Tsarist Russia at the time. In 1863, Tsarist Russia successfully developed a type of bullet that would shatter upon impact with a hard object, increasing the lethality of the ammunition on personnel. In 1867, Tsarist Russia improved this type of ammunition, allowing the bullet to shatter upon hitting a human body as well. After several years of use and testing, Tsarist Russia found that this ammunition could cause great pain to soldiers who were hit. Many soldiers who were not fatally wounded would continue to suffer great pain even after their wounds had healed, and this pain could likely last a lifetime. Although many wounded soldiers had experienced this phenomenon in the past, the new type of ammunition greatly increased the intensity of the pain and the likelihood of its occurrence. In December 1868, Tsarist Russia invited 17 countries including Britain and the Austro-Hungarian Empire to discuss humanitarian issues related to future wars, and subsequently signed the St. Petersburg Declaration. The St. Petersburg Declaration was the world's first document to examine the legality of weapons and equipment. Its central idea was that war should aim to weaken the enemy's military forces and should try to avoid causing unnecessary excessive harm to soldiers. It also called for reducing harm to civilians and proposed prohibiting the use of weapons that could cause large-scale damage to the natural environment or long-term damage and pollution. It should be said that the significance of this declaration's progress is extraordinary, at least in its effort to lead war in a more civilized direction, despite the inherent cruelty of war. The declaration also included regulations on the development of new weapons, stating that the actions of war should adhere to humanitarian principles, so the use of technology should be constrained. These constraints included the prohibition of explosive projectiles weighing less than 400 grams in war, which meant the ban on small-caliber artillery and ammunition such as shrapnel shells. Due to this 400-gram limit, and the fact that small-caliber armor-piercing shells were almost never used at that time, various countries mainly developed high-explosive shells. Therefore, the 37mm caliber became the minimum caliber for artillery, although stubborn Britain insisted on 2-pound and 3-pound guns, but their calibers were also no less than 37mm. Before World War I, after nearly half a century of growth, the 37mm gun had already established a ready-made production system in several industrialized countries. Especially during World War I, early 37mm infantry guns began to appear, and the prosperity of 37mm anti-tank guns after the war gave the 37mm caliber artillery a vigorous vitality. However, it was also World War I that broke the constraints of the St. Petersburg Declaration on explosive ammunition. With the appearance of armored weapons and aircraft, the advantages of large-caliber machine guns and smaller automatic cannons emerged. Weapons such as the M2.50 caliber heavy machine gun and the Oerlikon 20mm autocannon all emerged in the late stages of World War I. In the following decades, the number of calibers for artillery models increased, including 20, 25, and 30mm, and the ammunition was not limited to solid projectiles, often using incendiary and high-explosive shells in combat.